Let's talk about joining templates on an angle. So if we had a straight rectangle to rectangle, a 90-degree template to join, such as, for example, this one, it would be just as simple as putting them on together and you'd know exactly where to line up that edge. But when you have angles in your templates, it's a little bit trickier sometimes, because when you put them together, you line up the seam edge, but you're never sure, left, right, where it is you're supposed to stop. And that's where these handy little notched corners come into play. So I notch those off because it tells you exactly where to locate it. So we're stitching S1 to S2 here, which is these two guys here for the S. And we're going to place them together on that seam line. And we're going to line up these two edges. And then when it comes to the left and the right, you can see exactly where. So that would be too far over to the left, and that would be too far over to the right. But if you get it just in the right spot, both those edges will line up perfectly. And then we just take a little clover clip to hold it in place. And if you don't have clover clips, you can just use your hands to hold it, or you could pin it as well. But I do find that the clover clips are really handy because they don't buckle the templates, whereas pins would buckle the templates, and they hold everything nicely in place for you. And so there you have it. So then all you have to do is stitch along the seam line. And when you join your templates, you stitch all the way into the seam allowance area. So you'll just go and back stitch in there and back stitch in this end over here. And then you're good to go. When you come to stitch here, you obviously don't want to position a clip over here because that's your starting point. And I usually just start there where, about 1/4 inch from the edge. And back it up and go forward. Now you'll find sometimes when you have templates that are, there's already a join here, so there's a bit of a bump here from a seam, that sometimes I find the foot can push the top piece forward, which then your alignment can get off. So just something to be aware of. In this instance, we don't have that problem because it's just one template to another template. There's no previously joined templates. Whoops. All right. Okay, so we've stitched the seam, back stitching in each of the little seam allowance areas. And when we press it open, you can see we have a lovely straight edge here where it's perfectly aligned and a lovely straight edge there where it's perfectly aligned. With regard to which direction to press your seam allowance, I usually let the template tell me which way it wants to go. In this instance, it's pretty obvious because there are no seams in this piece here, whereas there are seams in this piece here. And this seam here is at an angle, which makes this little piece over here less inclined to want to fold over that way. So it naturally wants to fold towards where there's less going on. And then this piece here has quite a lot going on. So I'm going to press it towards S2. And we'll just give it a roll. And there you go.